Well, joining us on the burning question tonight is Ilaha Butera. He's a citizen joining us from Siderot. Remember, that happens to be one of the worst affected areas. Ilaha, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. We also have Shaun Bolnick. Shaun happens to be a tech expert who is now part of the reserve force of the IDF. Shaun, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. And Professor Syed Mohammad Marandi is joining us from Tehran. First, I would like to spend a little bit time with Shaun, because Shaun essentially represents the spirit of Israel at this point in time. The number of youngsters who have joined the reserve force, many that we have been speaking to through the day, are essentially talking about the fact that this is a difficult moment for everyone in Israel, but this is a fight that they are going to take it to the end. Shaun, just about 48 hours ago, when my team was speaking to you, they were speaking to you just as an ordinary citizen of Israel, as a tech expert. Today I speak to you as someone who's part of the IDF. First, I would like your thoughts of what you are witnessing unfolding before your eyes as a member of the IDF.
So first of all, thank you for having me. What I'd like to say to start off with is just my heart goes out to all the families of those who've been killed, wounded, and to those who have been taken hostage into the Gaza Strip, which is not only a war crime on the level of kidnapping innocent civilians, as we know. It is frowned upon pretty much in any acceptable society. The last 48 hours have been extremely tough for everybody associated with this country. Everybody knows someone or knows someone who knows of someone who was killed or captured. Now, as you said, you started off talking to me as a civilian, then to being called up. Obviously, there's a few nerves. But more than anything, we are proud to be able to defend not only our families, our friends, and our fellow civilians.
Shaun, in the last 48 hours, the indication that essentially came in that this is going to be way different. In the past two, you've had this battle with Hamas, but this time, as I speak to most of my friends in Israel, they say that it's going to be very different, because they believe that all this while, perhaps there was this nudge, wink approach that was taken by Israel. Perhaps it is time to take full control of Gaza, is what several people have been talking. I want to understand from you, as far as being a part of IDF, what has the strategy been right now? What is it that you are aiming?
Look, obviously I can't talk of, for the army. That's what they have the spokesperson. I can talk to you as a citizen of Israel. What I think you're seeing at the moment is just the very beginning stages of what I'm sure is going to be a very painful and strong retaliation against the Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, but predominantly Hamas. Heavy aerial bombardments, which I'm sure you've heard about and seen, and I can see on the screen as well that you've seen. And, the massive buildup of reserve forces. Obviously, I'm in no position to say what the army is going to do next or anything like that. But what I can say is everybody in Israel is wanting, as you say, for a change in the status quo. For years, we've been having these back and forth cycles of operations, few days of rockets and aerial bombardments. But this needs to be, and I'm hoping will be, a change to that, where we deal a serious blow to Hamas and make them pay for their war crimes and some of the barbaric acts that they did, where they massacred 900 people and took very many innocent civilians, toddlers, elderly, into Hamas and Hamas-held territory. And now it's time for them to pay for their crimes.
Shaun, by joining the IDF, you do realize the risk that you're essentially taking. Like you, Shaun, I understand several youngsters who are more than willing to be a part of the IDF, serve the nation at this point in time. But I also would like to understand Where does the courage really come in from at this point in time for many like you, Shaun, in Israel, as they pick up the guns, as they are ready to serve the nation? What is it that runs through your mind at this point in time?
First thing I would like to say is, none of us in Israel want to ever go to war. Nobody wants to go out and spill blood. We would love to, in an ideal world, live in peace. But when we've been forced into this situation, into an unprovoked attack, where many hundreds of our fellow brothers and sisters have been killed, we are proud, first of all, to be able to have the opportunity to defend those behind us. So I think that's a very important thing, is that we know we are there to protect our family and our friends. And it makes it very, very personal. Whereas, in the past, you may have had wars in the Middle East, whether it be America and Afghanistan or Iraq, millions, many, many miles away from their families, and they feel kind of disconnected. But when you have your family sitting maybe 20, 30-minute drive, sometimes even less from the border, and they have incessant rocket attacks and the threat of infiltrations, it makes it very, very real and personal to you. You know that what you're doing is to try and protect those that you love.
Shaun, before I also bring in my other guests who are joining us on the burning question, I would like to take one more question with regards to the current situation. As we understand that there has been troop mobilization towards southern Israel, what's the current situation like? While indications have come in that perhaps Israel is going to go in for the ground invasion, what's the current situation in terms of the fight back that Israel witnesses from the Hamas side? If you could just recap for all our viewers.
Sure. So, a lot of people in the immediate aftermath of the terrible attacks, the first instinct of a lot of people, especially those outside of Israel, screaming to take over the Gaza Strip, flatten it, whatever it may be. But what a lot of people don't realize is obviously an operation like that comes at a cost of human life. Also, there are also innocent civilians in Gaza at the same time. Not everyone in Gaza is a terrorist, even though there are, several thousand armed terrorists in the Gaza Strip. So I just think it's important to remember that, as I said, none of us in Israel wanted to be in this situation. It was a war that was brought onto us, and now we're going to take the fight to Hamas, and we'll do whatever is needed to protect our family and friends and to make sure that everybody can, especially those who are living by the border, can be at peace, wake up on a Saturday morning at 6:30 and not have somebody invading their small communities and get gunned down in their home. So I just hope that all my friends and my family members in the army will come home safely. And I just sending my